Hi, I'm Cristy Fincher. In this video, as part of our series for the Double Wedding Ring Quilt Along featuring piec-lique, I'm going to show you some ideas and steps and tricks for designing and planning out your quilt design. For double wedding ring, there are two different ways that you can orient the rings on your quilt. One is this way, where we have rings intersecting going side by side, and they'll be put together in even rows and columns. The second type is seen as a flower sometimes, and it is generally an odd number where we have four rings set next to each other that don't intersect, and the center ring intersects all four of them. So although they are the same design, it's just the matter of perspective for the way that you shift the look of your quilt. What I'm going to show you now is how to think about your A arches and B arches that we prepared in the template in the previous video. So while you are planning out your quilt, you'll have an idea of which arches will be A's and which arches will be B's, and how planning those will make piecing everything together a little bit easier for you. If you're going more by the feel and deciding as you go, it's just good to have this perspective so you can keep in mind that there are A arches and B arches. The A arches are going to be your smaller inside arch, and the B arches will have the cornerstones. So we just need to take those into consideration as we're looking how rings overlap each other, and if you want rings overlapping or and kind of weaving around each other, or if you want contrasting cornerstones that don't go with the rings, is just important to think about. So when we are constructing our final quilt, very similar to other double wedding ring designs out there, they are constructed in an apple core. And when I'm designing my quilts, I like to plan out what my apple cores are going to be and how they're going to be constructed. For example, if I'm going to be making a quilt like this, they will actually be constructed more of an on point in rows, just to make sure everything goes together well, and then you just shift around the quilt once it's finished to lay in the correct orientation that you prefer. So what I mean by being constructed in apple cores, and this is just a trick I use, you can use it as well, or if you come up with something better, I just like to use a highlighter, and sometimes I use multiple colors to help me decide where my apple cores are going to be and which arches are going to be inside of those apple cores. So when I look at this right now, I see my first main apple core here. Do you see how this is going to be a B arch, and this one is going to be an A arch? So let me bring that up a little bit closer for you. So in orange, I've highlighted my first apple core unit. And then we have this unit out here, I'll highlight in pink, kind of just by itself, and it will just be a melon unit that we have separate, and we'll attach it as we're constructing the entire quilt. So this apple core unit will be constructed as one unit, including the center, these arches, and the center of the melons. And as you're planning your placement for all of your colors and which arches are going to be which, on a full apple core from side to side, the arch on the outside is your B arch, and it is going to own or have attached to it the cornerstones. And again, the outside arch here is a B, and it's going to own or have connected to it the cornerstones. See that there? And then the center arches here are going to be your A's. And they're going to be the short ones with no cornerstones attached. They will attach the cornerstones as we assemble everything. So we just won't be putting them together with the cornerstones beforehand. Now that means when we go to the next section, we are going to have our apple cores alternate. So the next apple core that we will work with is going to be the next row. That's going to be over here, here, around, and here. Make that nice and bold for you. So that is our next apple core. And then after that, we're going to have another apple core here. Get a little bit more bold. And then the next one that will get assembled, sorry, that one actually goes here. Sorry about that. You probably all caught that, but the next apple core will go here, and here, and here, and here. So this is the way we will be assembling our quilt. And then we'll have these extras, these separate guys, that we will attach as well as we go to the individual apple cores. But they will be a separate part that we'll assemble to make sure everything gets layered correctly. Then this apple core down here will be this one. This is going to help you to just pay attention and recognize how things are going to get put together in their rows. So as you're planning everything, you can get things placed in the places you would prefer. Now with the A and B arches, as we assemble everything, if we switch this around here, this is going to be our next, this is an apple core unit, and they're all going to be put together like this. On all the apple core units, the outside arches are B's and the inside arches are A's. So if it helps you to label them, please do. So if this up here we're going to continue to an apple core, it would be like this if we were to continue the quilt, which makes this arch here a B and this one an A. And then the pattern, as you might start to see, is that every full ring will have A, A, B, B, A, B, A, B. So they rotate around in the quilt, A, B, A, B. So if I have a B here and a B here, this one will be an A, and this one will be a B, and this one will be a B, and that one will be an A. And as I continue around, this one will be an A, and this one will be a B, an A, an A, a B, an A, B, an A, B. It's pretty repetitive. I probably could stop there, and I'm sure you get the hang of it. And it just alternates around. And remember, those B arches are the ones that contain whatever will be the cornerstone. It might change a little bit. Oops, that's a B. If you are doing solid arches. and A. So you can see all of those are labeled there. And now as I plan my arches, I can decide what I want each arch to be to make sure I take into consideration those cornerstones where things are going to intersect here and here and here and here, just to make sure I have everything planned out like I would like. Now on this type of quilt, the same holds true. We will assemble it in apple cores, where you'll have an apple core here, and then this apple core here will attach, and we'll just continue in rows going across and attaching alternating apple cores. So we're going to go up and down, we're going to go side to side, up and down, side to side. And then as well, our arches will alternate B, A, B, A, and so forth all the way around. So you can plan the flow of the colors that you like to use, or just the placement of the overlaps. For example, if I'm going to have this ring be purple, but I want this ring to be pink and overlap the purple, and I made this ring over here be blue, and this ring up here be green, I want to make sure I decide what is going to overlap in the middle so that my rings will go over and under as I'd like them to. So on this one, I want the blue ring to go over the pink, and here the green to go over the blue. I hope it doesn't sound as complicated as I fear. I hope that makes sense. So as you're planning it out, you can decide what those cornerstones are going to be. If they're going to be something totally different and contrast the rest of it, you don't have to plan out the overlapping much at all. For example, with that red and white one that I'm working on, all of my cornerstones are this floral. So I don't have to think about it on that one. On the other quilt I'm working on, this one, which has rings that are solid and mixed up, I have some of my solid arches encompassing the cornerstone, and they'll just flow around that way. And so that's why coloring it will really help you decide what your rings are going to look like. So you can decide what a solid ring is going to be, or if you're having contrasting cornerstones, or cornerstones that are going to show where rings will overlap. Just keep in mind those A arches and B arches. So as you are planning everything out, you will know which ring goes where on your apple core, and you'll be able to decipher and decide what color placement is going to go where. And if you're going to be scrappy and kind of plan less and play more with it, and decide as you go with your layout, you can definitely do that as well and move things around. Just do keep in mind those A arches and B arches. I have played around before where I kind of get into the color of it and forget that A arches and B arches have to go in that certain way, because it's really important for the assembly. And I've had to take things out and restitch them. So just keep that in mind as we go. And as we start to assemble everything, I will be demonstrating and show you very clearly the way the A arches and the B arches will intersect with each other and get assembled. I hope you are having a lot of fun designing your quilt. I can't wait to see what color combinations you come up with. and I will be back in just a bit with a video on cutting and preparing more of your fabrics for your different types of arches. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.